welcome back to Arrakis Central. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications if you like this content. Well, with Dune Awakening only weeks away from release, some of the questions that folks are having is, how will the early game play out, and what are the things I should avoid, and maybe some of the things I should focus on in that early game, particularly in the area of Haga Basin, which is going to be the starting area. As shown in the previously released game footage from Funcom, we see that your character will awaken in a cave within Haga Basin, particularly in a starting area. Your character will awaken in the cave with no tools or skills, but you will soon find some items in the starting cave, such as a knife, and you will learn how to do some basic crafting for medical and how to drink some water from some of the local plants in the cave. One of the very first items you'll find in the game is the Frem Kit. The Frem Kit will allow you to craft some basic items, a heal kit, and a scrap metal knife. Now you'll use these quite often in the beginning of the game. In fact, you'll have to use that to escape out of the cave at some point. Once you've equipped yourself, it's time to step out into the open sands, but be cautious, the desert is alive and not always in a friendly way. Your first goal, start collecting key early game resources like water, basic crafting materials such as fiber or the granite stone. These will lay the groundwork for your base building journey. You will use a resource collection tool to scan and then harvest along the set path that the scan reveals to harvest the mineral or item. Although you will use early game missions and contracts to level up your character, but one of the first things you're going to do is build your first base. So once you have enough resources, it's time to set up your first base. Choose your location wisely. Proximity to resources, rich areas can save you a lot of time. A well-planned base will provide safety and storage, serving as a solid foundation for your expansion. So now one of the most important early game blueprints you're going to need, the sandbike. So as you progress, focus on unlocking the sandbike blueprint. This iconic vehicle is your ticket to traversing Arrakis more efficiently, letting you cover greater distances while avoiding the perils of endless walking. Crafting your first sandbike is a milestone in mastering the early game. So once you unlock the bike blueprints, which is going to be one of the first vehicles you're going to rush to want to get in the game, there are 5 main components, plus an optional component which we've seen so far, which is the seat. So for the optional seat, you're going to need 10 copper ingots with 3 advanced servos, or servox. The seat is optional, but if you're planning on a long dune ride with a friend, it might come in handy. The component 2, the PSU, power up your sandbike's PSU, you're going to need the 5 copper ingots, 3 particle capacitors. For that, the treads, you need 3 treads each. Each tread is going to need 3 copper ingots and 1 advanced servox. Then the engine itself, 5 copper ingots, 3 advanced servox. For that, then the body will need the 12 copper ingots, 3 advanced servox, and then of course the chassis will need 12 copper ingots and 3 advanced servox. Once you have all your components, you're going ahead and assemble them with your tool, and you'll basically place each part consecutively with each other with the tool, and once it's done, you will basically have the completed bike. For the next rush after the bike, your next vehicle, of course, is going to be the Ornithopter. Now, we don't know all the details yet on the construction materials because they haven't shown that on screen per se to make it, but I'm assuming it's going to be more complicated than the bike itself, and some different materials probably than what we know of that we've seen so far in the game. Now, that being said, this is going to be the must-have vehicle for Dune Awakening for any player, for all players. So, like I said, we rush to get the bike. After you have the bike, you're going to rush to get the Ornithopter blueprints unlocked. And until we really see a preview or the game comes out itself, we're not going to know exact details of paths of leveling up per se until the game comes out. But we're going to assume that we're going to level up slowly and then eventually unlock those various blueprints that we need. And there's going to be other criteria probably in there as well that you have to have before you can unlock certain blueprints. That being said, the game's looking very good. I think the main issue with people have had in some of the previous footage was the combat, and but I think they've been working on that, and they're gonna have that smoothed out, hopefully much more smooth and worked out when the game comes out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How do you think this game is going to turn out? And until next time, I will talk to you later.